So we had the Boks kick off their World Cup campaign with a bit of a disappointing defeat to the All Blacks. Ryan, we haven't chatted for a while, but we've got a new studio and we're going to take a look at some footage and do this format a little bit differently.
Yeah.
What were your take and feelings on that Boks game?
Yeah, I think like we're going to discuss it more in detail when we look at some of the key moments in the in this game. But I think overall, that's the difference between the All Blacks at this point and where they are in their evolution and where the Springboks are. So the way the All Blacks played the key moments, the way they absorbed the pressure from the Boks early on, which was like incessant. I think I tweeted early in the game that the All Blacks don't have a defensive answer to the Springboks, especially their phase play, the speed of their phase play. Defensively, they were just shut down in those early stages by the Springboks, and I was like, this is looking like Wellington again. But I mean, their champion side, the way they kind of absorbed that, and then it was like a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
And then 17-3, things are very different. The Springboks are chasing the game, and we're gonna unpack that a bit more.
Yeah.
But that's the difference between a champion side like the All Blacks who've been through the mincer like this before. And kind of where the Springboks are in the evolution.
Yeah. So let's have a look at the clip. For me, it's the game and result is not that important in the sense that the Boks are still going to go through to quarterfinal. For me, this was like a big game, knockout sort of dress rehearsal, and we saw that the margins are really small.
Yeah.
And so if we just look at a couple of key moments that I felt in the first half were game shaping. So we see here, obviously the Boks are 3-0 up. Pollard's just missed a kick that could have been 6-0 up. And then they have a fairly good attacking opportunity in the All Blacks half. And then we see Faf, basic error here. He misses his man with a pass. And obviously the All Blacks break away here. So Mapimpi does really well to get back. But I think actually he was very fortunate here when he concedes a penalty not to get a yellow card.
Yeah.
And from here it's a basic 3 points for the All Blacks. I mean, it could have been worse for the Boks. It could have been a yellow card. And then you never know from there. But just looking for me at that clip, just a basic error in a prime attacking opportunity. And that's sort of where it started to have the momentum change. I think that the Boks will look back on a moment like that and just know when you're not hitting your man from a set move there like Faf de Klerk did, it's problematic. And I don't think the All Blacks, they don't make those sort of mistakes as often.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we remember up to that point, the Springboks were completely dominant. And we can pick out small things, like I felt like Dialindi's running line there was quite narrow. The defensive setup was excellent, the All Blacks. I don't know where we were going to go there. We were looking to play in the wide channel if that ball had stuck. We're looking to play in the wide channel, maybe Vrede coming around in the loop and running to a gap that they were trying to create. But the attack was so narrow there.
Yeah.
So
here we see the Mapimpi.
No
daylight there.
I was surprised that he didn't get a yellow. But yeah, I mean, the standard of officiating in that game was another thing, right?
Yeah.
And people talk about it all the time or have spoken about it in the wake. I thought especially at the breakdown, the referee was terrible. Things that the All Blacks were getting away with, the Springboks were being penalised for. But that isn't the reason we lost. And we're going to unpack, I think, the reasons we lost here.
Yeah.
Yes, the referee was inconsistent. But you can't point to that as like the primary source of the Springboks defeat.
Yeah. So for me, the Boks here should probably be 6-0 up. Instead, they've missed a penalty and they've conceded 3 points from a basic mistake. And then we see another basic error coming in. And in a massive game like this, it's so costly. So you see fairly good contestable kick from Aaron Smith. Now Dwayne Vermeulen, 9 times out of 10, he collects that, but instead he fails to do so. The ball goes free. And then if I pause it here, we can just see now on the counter-attack, this is when the All Blacks are so lethal. So going to Monga at 10, who had a great game, he spots that maybe a little bit narrow Mapimpi there has come in a little bit too narrow.
If you just leave it there as well,
yep.
I still think we're in a good defensive situation here. But as you roll on, you'll see Mapimpi missing a hit, like what should be a straightforward hit here. Look, at this point, we've got, right? And so my thing is like, look at the size of this guy. You wanna be getting him around the legs, getting him down, getting the cover defense in, maybe being able to contest the breakdown. But that's just a poor tackle for a test player, man.
Yeah. So again, we got, Adi Sevilla, I think is probably the world's best player at the moment. From here, the All Blacks are often very unstoppable, and the Boks defence we'll see here is very much stressed. So a great little move here. Beauden Barrett attacks the space, lovely running line from George Bridge. So we'll see it better on the reverse angle. But this is just the All Blacks, vintage All Blacks. They are so lethal from that counter-attack opportunity. So here you'll see what your point you were making with this little goose step, and he leaves Mapimpi for dead. And from there, this is the great reverse angle. So here we again see the All Blacks, that dual playmaker role working so well for them. So Mo'unga to Barrett. Barrett spots not only the space, but that it's a mismatch with forwards. Frans Malherbe tracking across, and Etzebeth in a bit of no man's land.
Just on Barrett, right? I mean, for me, you say Adi Sevilla is the best player in the world, maybe the best forward in the world. It's hard to compare different positions, but for me, Barrett is by some distance the best backline player in the world. For me, watching him is he's like the Leo Messi of rugby. His spatial awareness, how often he makes the right decisions, how often he's able to get out of situations, contact situations where he has no right to. His ability to stay present in contact, and I mean it's a defining quality of the All Blacks games. A game that the runners off the shoulder of the ball carrier are so aware, so available all the time. But that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is getting your hands through the tackle to be able to make that an option for you, a passing option for you. Barrett is light years for me ahead of them. You can speak about lazy runners coming around on the cover, but Barrett spotted that. Another player switches that ball out wide, and it goes, maybe they should score from that.
Passes too early.
Or passes too early, and the cover defense can get around.
Yeah.
But Barrett's decision making at key points in the game is exceptional. I always say that talent is one thing, but talent without temperament is wasted.
Yeah.
The temperament to be calm and to see the situation, to see the full picture, is exceptional. For me, he's by some distance the world's best backman.
And I think we'll see it again here. So again, All Blacks, yes, they're attacking, but they're in their own half. And here's pure skill. You'll see Dan Cole's here, lovely pass. And from here, he shouldn't really be getting through the defence. So maybe Vermeulen's a little bit passive here. He doesn't make the hit.
Yeah.
Malcolm Marx overtracks, and then just pure skill through the gap, perfectly timed pass, and away from for a try that puts the All Blacks 14 points ahead. So for me, this is where the game was won and lost. Once the All Blacks have created, and it comes from a Pollard era. So once the All Blacks have kind of got that lead and a bit of a buffer, you're really not going to get over that mountain. So here's the pass. For me, you can see that again, like you say. I mean, the All Blacks are so good at spotting where the opportunity is, and there's the space that he sees, and he's got the sidestepping ability and the skills to go right through there.
Yeah, that for me again, and that was the difference, like in Wellington, right? The Springboks weren't making those errors. Yeah. The defensive alignment, the defensive structure, even from broken field, was excellent. It's moments, we speak about moments in Test Rugby. Test Rugby is a moments game. And moments like that changed it for the All Blacks. They went 17-3 up. And at that point, the Springboks fell apart. Tactically, I felt like mentally, certainly from a physical perspective. And the moment became too big for them. Because then all of the memories of the All Blacks doing this to them in past games comes into play. And then everything that you said about what happened in the past not being a factor in this game, those things all come into play again, because you could see the tension in the team. And the tension affected the execution of what they were doing. Yeah. A lot of people were criticizing the tactics, the tactical approach. Why they kick so much? That for me is the way to go. It's the execution of the tactical philosophy that was the problem. Like kicks that, especially against All Blacks, box kicks or tactical kicks that don't go precisely where you need it to go, is tactical suicide. And then that was starting to happen. So I have no qualms about the Springboks approach. That's how they beat them in Wellington. But the execution of that, and the execution was compromised because of the tension. You could just see everything. Players weren't tracking around on defense quickly enough. That means that their whole defensive structure is compromised because they need somebody to fold from the outside. And when you don't have those numbers, there's always a gap out wide. And the All Blacks were exploiting that. So for me, it's not a tactical mistake.
Yeah.
It was the execution of their philosophy.
Yeah, I think we just had a look at those, and I think it kind of paints a picture of what the Boks really just got wrong. And then it was a 7-minute period where, after a very good start, just some basic errors, and those are the margins. You know, in a big game like that, that's going to be the difference between winning and losing. And it simply was. Went into half-time 17-3. Very rarely you're going to overturn that deficit, and they did a good job in the second half to start coming back.
Great crack at it.
But it was really just never seemed like it was going to be enough, and I just think that their confidence took a big knock. So it's things like that the Boks will look at and just know if they just clean up those little couple of moments where they just weren't strong enough under the high ball, and then just the defensive errors that we've looked at, because they've got a very very much a defensive system that is high risk, high reward. There are going to be moments where you have lapses, but against teams like the All Blacks, they're going to punish you if you just put one foot wrong. So they've just got to clean those areas up for me, and it's not doom and gloom, because I think clearly they'll go through to a quarter-final, but then it's just a case of they're coming up against Ireland, which is likely. They've just got to ensure that on the day in those big knockout matches they are 90% perfect, because here they were 20-25% off for 7 minutes, and they got
against
punished.
The world's best team. Look, absolutely, I know people put a lot of stock in this game, right? But there was every chance that the Springboks were going to lose this game. Now, the manner of the defeat was disappointing because of it being basic errors that cost them the game. Overall, I still think they're one of the contenders in this competition, a strong contender. I think they're better than Ireland on the day, and when they're playing to, like you said, to somewhere close to their potential, they're better than Ireland, and so we need to keep some perspective around what happened in this game, and the measure of this team now is how they rebound from this, right? Namibia should be relatively simple. People talk about Japan, what happened against Japan and that type of thing, but that was the Eddie Jones coached Japan, and that particular Springbok team was in a very different space to this one now. So just regrouping again, staying true to their tactical philosophy, because again, I think it's the right way to go for this particular player group. That's the right way to play. And then kind of going from there and looking at a quarterfinal situation whether it's against Ireland or whoever it is, and then just going look, we've learned the lessons of that game, and in many ways it might have come at the right time in the tournament for them. The first hit out in the tournament, brutally exposed the difference between winning a test at the World Cup and losing one. And now to remedy those things going forward. So how they respond going from here now is critical. We need to see kind of us not only papering over those cracks, but actually fixing them. So I look forward to it. And Rassie, for me, again, going back to the coaching thing, has earned my trust. I can't speak about you, I can't speak about the Springbok fan base at large, but he's earned our trust. And so give him a chance to show that this team's got it. This team's got it to rebound from a defeat like that.
All right, great. Thanks, Ryan. We'll unpack more in the weeks to come, but thanks for your time.